You're listening to Geek to English, and I'm your geek. Today, we're cracking open a topic that sounds complicated until you realize it's basically choosing who runs your house: Google, Apple, or Amazon. Each one has strengths, weaknesses, quirks, and the occasional existential meltdown when you ask it to dim the lights. But don't worry, we'll keep it all in human speak. Let's start with the big three ecosystems, because that's where most people live: Google Home, Apple Home, and Amazon Alexa. Now, Google Home is the easygoing roommate who never judges, runs mostly on Wi-Fi, and has a huge range of compatible devices. Everything is pretty much plug and play. If you live in the Android world, Google is the low-friction choice. The downside is that Google is still a little too cloud dependent. If you lose your internet connection, some automations just roll over like a fainting goat. Apple Home is the refined but surprisingly practical option. If you have an iPhone, iPad, or HomePad mini, you're already halfway in. Apple has the best privacy practices and the smoothest user experience. The catch? Apple expects you to stay in its universe. If you try and mix and match too much, it politely folds its arms and refuses to cooperate. Think of it as the Homeowners Association of smart homes. Everything looks nice, but the rules are really strict. Then there's Amazon Alexa. Alexa is the extrovert of the bunch, compatible with more devices than anyone else, often the cheapest to get started, and flexible with third-party brands. But Amazon leans heavily on the cloud too, and as your smart home grows, Amazon can become a little enthusiastic. Ask her to turn on the kitchen light, and she might try to sell you dishwasher pods. Still, in terms of pure compatibility, nobody beats Alexa. Now, before we go any deeper, there are two other companies worth a quick detour: Samsung and Honeywell. Samsung has turned smart appliances into a full-blown lifestyle. Refrigerators with touchscreens, washers that text you when they're done, ovens you can preheat from the grocery store. They play nicely with SmartThings, and SmartThings plays nicely with almost everything else. Samsung doesn't run your ecosystem, but it absolutely enhances it. Honeywell is the opposite vibe. Not flashy, no touchscreen fridges here, but they are the kings of home infrastructure, like thermostats and sensors, HVAC controls. They've been automating buildings longer than most tech companies have existed. If Samsung gives your home personality, Honeywell gives it backbone. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about hub versus non-hub environments. It's a topic that confuses people because it sounds more complicated than it is. A hub-based environment is like having a conductor in an orchestra. Everything reports to the hub. The hub runs automations locally, keeps devices talking even if the internet goes out, and handles things like Zigbee, Thread, and other low-power radios that keep your Wi-Fi from being crushed under the weight of 40 smart bulbs. A hub-free system is more like a jazz band. Everyone's doing their own thing, talking directly to your Wi-Fi router or the cloud. It's easier and cheaper to set up, but it has its limits. If your internet drops, your smart home becomes surprisingly dumb. And with enough devices, your Wi-Fi starts wheezing like a treadmill on mile 11. So, when do you choose a hub? You pick a hub when you want reliability, local automations, or when your device count starts climbing into the double digits. You also pick a hub if you want to use the newer bulbs and sensors that avoid Wi-Fi entirely. But when do you skip the hub? You skip the hub when you're just starting out, when you only need a few devices, or when you want the absolute fewest moving parts between you and working technology. Which brings us to getting started. The easiest way to begin a smart home is not buying a $1,000 system or installing a command center in your hallway. It's choosing one ecosystem, one device, one automation. Test the waters before you jump in the ocean. For most people, the simplest starting point is smart bulbs. And the good news is that the best beginner bulbs don't need hubs at all. Three of the top hub-free brands right now are Philips Whiz. Philips Whiz bulbs are affordable, bright, and feature-packed. They connect over Wi-Fi, offer millions of colors, have routines and circadian lighting built in. You can set them to mimic sunrise or dim automatically before bed. Second, there's Govee smart bulbs. Govee leans into fun, dynamic scenes, color chasing effects, syncing to music. Great for living rooms, gaming setups, or anyone who wants personality without complexity. And lastly, there's TP Causes smart bulbs. These are the workhorses. Reliable, fast, no nonsense. They're perfect if you want smart lighting without moving into a future nightclub. But any of these bulbs will connect to the big three ecosystem, so no matter which assistant you pick, you're good. So, what's the path to building your own environment? Step 1, pick your ecosystem. Google, Apple, or Amazon. They're all great for starting out. They're all good. The right one is the one that fits your phone and your lifestyle. Step 2, install one smart device, a smart bulb, plug, or thermostat, something you're going to interact with daily. And step 3, create a single automation. Turn your lights on at sunset. Turn your thermostat to eco mode when you leave. Turn your bedroom lamp off at midnight. Once you nail one routine, the rest of the smart home logic starts to make sense. And from there, add slowly. Don't buy everything at once. Let your needs guide your upgrades. Let's end today looking at the other extreme, the fully teched out home. The place where everything runs itself and your house seems just a little too aware of your existence. Imagine this. You pull into the driveway. Your garage door recognizes your car and opens automatically. Lights turn on in a path leading from the garage to the kitchen. Your thermostat shifts into comfort mode only when you arrive and not a second sooner. The coffee maker schedules itself. Your home knows when the dog walker arrives. Your security cameras distinguish between the mail carrier and an actual intruder. Your blinds adjust based on the angle of the sun. The oven preheats when you confirm dinner plans, and by the time you crawl into bed, your entire environment has already shifted into quiet mode. Lights dimmed, alarms armed, doors locked, and your house tucked in for the night like an attentive robot butler. This is the future people imagine when they think smart home. But you don't need to start there. You start with one bulb, one plug, one ecosystem, and one routine that makes your life just a little easier. That's how a smart home begins. Simple, practical, and built step by step until your house feels like it's working with you, not against you. Thanks for listening to Geek to English. If you have questions, send them to questions@geektoenglish.com. Make sure you follow for more content, and don't forget to share this with someone you love.